especially for beginner golfers that don't have a concept of getting the bottom of the swing forward, right? This just really encourages from that setup position. If I grab that back foot, I just place it up on the toe here.
Perfect, just like that.
I can feel a lot more weight on the front foot already. All right, Liam, so one thing that you'll see common with all professional golfers, or be it high-level ball strikers, is they get themselves into a position post-impact into the finish where the majority of their weight is on their lead side. Now, you tend to work with a lot of sort of amateur and novice golfers, right? And you said that one of the big faults that you see with a lot of players is they don't get into that nice, big, tall, structured position that you see with the professional.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah,
I see it quite common.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of those little drills and exercises that we were just talking about before, and that you give them, involves doing something with the back foot, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I want you to do is I want you to come in and you're actually going to kind of talk me through exactly what you would see with the player and then the way that you would approach it.
Absolutely, sounds good, Kerrod. No worries. So, what often happens is, as they sort of get up to the top of the backswing, usually they actually get into a pretty good position, and then from here, as they make their downswing, either they sort of hang back on this right side, or they even get a little bit too much side bend here, all right, and then actually they forget to get any sort of transition onto that left side, all right, where we, especially with our irons, we want to be able to sort of drive through the golf ball just that little bit better, okay? So a little exercise that I tend to do with a lot of guys is, again, kind of shortening the swing. All right, it's good to do these little half swings just to try and get a repetitive sequence in there. All right, so what we do is after you take your setup position, just drop that right foot back, even if you want to get it on your tiptoes, okay? And then from here, I really cannot fall back on this right side now, okay? So all my weight is on this left side, all right? And then as you make a couple of small swings from there, all right, back and through, all your weight has to stay on this side, okay? You really cannot fall back and hang back on the golf ball, all right? Okay. So we're getting a nice transition right the way through the golf ball. So
I'm going to jump in here. Let's put this together and see how that looks, right? So when you were going through that little reference there, you started and you put this back foot kind of up onto its toe in this position, and then from there you're making small swings, trying to feel like your weight stayed on the lead side.
Yes.
Now, there's a concept in golf called low point, right? And if there is one skill that a lot of players struggle to reproduce in a consistent fashion like a pro, it is getting the bottom of the swing, or the low point, in the same spot every time.
Just in front of the golf ball,
Yeah, absolutely. And we can see that this little divot here, from where my previous shot was, the golf ball was struck first, the club goes into the ground, has the bottom of the swing approximately in this position here, and then it rises up again, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And we would see the players that struggle with hanging back, like you were kind of just talking about, well, they would tend to have the divots behind, they would do that old number.
Yeah, so often.
Yeah,
so often, all the time.
Turns into a pretty frustrating game of golf pretty quickly.
Absolutely, yes, it does.
So let's say I am one of those players and I film myself, and post-impact, I'm kind of leaning back, my body's here. Now, if I close my eyes, and this is something that everyone at home can do, they can feel that they've got way too much weight on that back foot.
Yeah, automatically, right away.
So that little drill that you just gave us, which I think is fantastic, and especially for beginner golfers that don't have a concept of getting the bottom of the swing forward, right? This just really encourages from that setup position. If I grab that back foot, I just place it up on the toe here.
Perfect, just like that.
I can feel a lot more weight on the front foot already, which, all things being equal, is going to encourage me to get the bottom of the swing more forward. And then from there, what would be the instruction that you'd give the player? Is it almost that you've got to try and feel like you stay on that front side and then finish more on the front side, or what would you say?
Definitely. I think it's more, as you swing back, you want to feel like we are staying on this left side. And as you pull that right foot back, all right, if you were to actually try and move your weight onto your back foot, your trail foot there, you know, you're probably going to lose your balance and fall over and look a bit ridiculous, all right? So, yeah, it's as you make your swing back, it does feel like we actually press a little bit more into your left foot, and then even more so as we start to turn through and follow through. Absolutely.
Okay, so if players are working on this at home, right, and they wanted a certain drill sequence that they could work on, like sets and reps as such, we always talk about, as professional golfers, when working on certain movement patterns as coaches, that you want to start off very slow and intentional to build a feel.
Yes.
And you want to do that without a golf ball first, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So start without the golf ball, and then you want to build it up from there. So maybe do it off the tee for a few shots just to get the hang of it, get the idea of what we're trying to really work on, and then you know, ultimately we want to try and get it back down onto the ground, then try and get some nice strikes on it as well.
Okay, great.
And like you were saying, focusing on getting that strike just after the golf ball, so that ball points a little bit further forward.
Perfect. So I'm going to add on to that. I'm going to say, as a reference, what we would like to see is, if this is where I'm going to place the golf ball, what I'd like you to do at home, guys, is just stand on the inside where you would have a practice swing. But you're going to imagine there's a ghost ball there, like just an imaginary ball that if you strike would still have the same outcome. Now, from here, with what Liam said, we're going to place that back foot up on the toe. Now, a reference for me is I'm going to put my back toe in line with my left heel.
Yep, ideal.
In that position there.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Now, when I set up to that, if the golf ball was there, I close my eyes, I can probably feel 85, 90% of my weight here. Don't use this as a crutch. Like as soon as you sit back there, club's going to rise too much through the ball. Now from here, as you've just described, we're going to do slow swings, focusing on hitting the ground, and we can see distinctly that's actually hitting after where that ball would lay.
Exactly. So automatically, because your weight's staying pretty centered, if not a little bit more on your lead foot, we're automatically hitting the ground just after the golf ball. It's exactly what we're going to do, and we want to get a nice crisp contact with the rounds.
Love it, love it, love it. All right, let's do a couple of those, and then we'll step in and hit it.
Let's see if we put it into action.
All right, into it, right foot up, weight forward, little half shot. So ball first, ground second contact, and I really felt that kind of compress off the face.
Yep.
And more than anything, just as an exaggeration here, because this is what it is, right? If a player at the moment of impact doesn't get approximately 80% of their weight on their front foot at the moment of impact, which is what a professional golfer does, then when they do this for the first time, doing this drill, they're going to feel like they're probably going to fall over and move forward. But like if we're going to throw a ball, for example, or any athletic motion, the target is not here, the target is out there.
No.
We are always better off moving towards and falling towards rather than hanging back and falling back.
100%, yeah. Anytime we start to hang back or even try and lift the golf ball up in the air, you know, either we catch it thin, or like you say, in that throwing action, if we were to hang back, it's just going to go straight up in the air and not really go anywhere. So yeah, that sort of transition of weight is really what we're trying to feel, so that when you go back to doing your full swings again, all right, we maybe load up the right side, but then we get that real transition into the lead foot, which really helps get a nice strike on the golf ball.
Yeah, I would say that exactly what you said there, that's a perfect way to put it, is start off slow, do the drill swings, then hit a couple with the drill motion. But then when you step back up to the ball, if you're going to hit a full shot, we're not trying to load up and keep all our weight on the front foot. No. Now, the purpose of this drill is you do enough sets and reps over a period of time where naturally at address you might have a little bit more weight forward, and then by that stage of impact you get more weight forward.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean we want everyone over here just chilling and chopping down like that.
We're not trying to take chunks out of the grass too much. No.
No. So it's a blend. As with anything, there's a balance. So I'm going to have one more practice swing here, dude. Right foot up on the toe. Getting the feeling there, brushing after that feels great. Now at the moment of impact, I'm just going to try and recreate the sensation, get that weight on the front foot, finish forward and tall.
Love it.
You know what?
Nice strike on that.
Felt pretty good?
Nice one, Kerrod.